Alright, what is good? What's happening? How's everyone today? My name is Chuck and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, fellas, we're going to be jumping into is going to be my top 5 best modern warfare guns you guys should be using here in Warzone. And the last time I covered this, you guys really seemed to enjoy me covering specifically the modern warfare guns, so I wanted to dedicate another video here giving you guys some updated setups on guns you guys should be using here after all the different updates, the buffs and nerfs, all these different guns, because Raven loves to be able to touch a lot of the different guns, whether it be the Cold War, modern warfare, or even the Vanguard weapons. A lot of the Vanguard weapons have been getting some touches here recently, but it hasn't excluded all the different changes that some of the modern warfare weapons be getting. So let's jump into some awesome stuff here and give you guys some top tier setups that you guys should be dominating Warzone with. And I want to point out, this doesn't matter if you're going to be on Caldera or if you're going to be on Rebirth, kind of like what I play specifically. You guys will do wonderful here in every single aspect. So if you guys can do me a favor here real quick and make sure you drop a like in the next 5 seconds for some good luck. Let's break 500 likes, and also subscribe with all notifications turned on. I'm on the road to 800,000 subscribers, so it'd be amazing if you join the squad. Okay, first thing is first here, let's jump into a pretty awesome build here with the M4A1. This is like a tried and true assault rifle that I absolutely love using here in Warzone. So let's get into this here. Of course, this is going to be a variant called the PURIST. Doesn't really matter, but I have an OG Atlanta phase camo on here. You guys can't get this one anymore. I know some people are going to ask me about that in the comment section. This is from Modern Warfare when they had those camos, those CDL camos. It's not necessarily in the game anymore. So first thing in here in the muzzle category, we need to go through and we're going to put on the monolithic suppressor, sound suppression, damage range. Of course, this is going to be the best option out there for a suppressor for any of the Modern Warfare weapons, so you guys should definitely be running this. After that, in the barrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the stock M16 Grenadier barrel here for damage range, bullet velocity, and a recoil control increase. This is a fantastic barrel, definitely the best one in here. I would only suggest otherwise to use maybe the Corvus Custom Marksman. Some people can get away with that on Rebirth Island, but for me personally, even when I do play Rebirth, I'm pretty much using exclusively the stock M16 Grenadier barrel. Now in the underbarrel section, to make this thing as much of a laser beam as we can get without sacrificing a bunch of mobility, we're going to throw on the Commando foregrip here for recoil stabilization and aiming stability. I'd suggest for you guys to always run this one. This is just such a good underbarrel attachment. I have seen people try to run stuff like the Merc foregrip, you know, your tactical, your ranger, so on and so forth. I've tried it out myself plenty of times since I've had so much time to be able to use the M4A1 here in Warzone because it was one of the first, you know, meta ARs to use. But I've always found that the Commando foregrip has worked out the best no matter what situation you're in, so always run the Commando. After that, in the magazine section, what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the 60 round magazine. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, so I absolutely love running the 60 on here, though I have kind of gotten away with more recently kind of switching over to a 50 round magazine. It just kind of depends on what I'm feeling like, if I want a tad bit more mobility out of my gun. For the M4, I seem to get away with the 60 pretty nicely, and I don't really have too many issues with it, but you can definitely throw on the 50 if you want a tad bit more mobility, but you will sacrifice, of course, 10 extra rounds in your magazine. So this is kind of one of those things, a little personal preference, not going to make a huge difference in your build. And then lastly, we're going to go into the laser section, and we're actually going to throw on the TAC laser here for the increased ADS speed, aiming stability, and aim walking steadiness. This is going to be a fantastic attachment here for this gun. If you guys do not want to run a laser and you guys don't want to use the iron sights, even though they're absolutely beautiful, you guys can go do something like go into the optic section, and then you can go throw on the VLK 3x optic, and that's just going to be the other sort of way, the other variation in which you can run the M4A1. So it's just pretty much one of those two different things, or if you really want to get adventurous with it, you can stop running the TAC laser and maybe throw in a stipple grip tape down in the rear grip section. But this is my full build here for the M4A1. If you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to, you know, leave a like on the video. And I mean, this is just definitely a top tier Modern Warfare weapon. It's just so good. All right, now let's get into a Modern Warfare SMG. That's going to be the MP7. This is the Bleach variant. You guys probably go find this one here in the store if you guys really want to. Just hover over the MP7, go to that store section, and it probably will be there. Don't take my word for that, though. I mean, sometimes they remove stuff and the store is a little bit wonky, but hey, it is what it is. Let's jump into these attachments. Muzzle category, mono suppressor, like always. We just got to go with this one here. Not going to explain this one too much. You know, the best attachment here for all those Modern Warfare weapons. Now, in the barrel section, we're going to go through on the largest barrel possible, which is the FSS Recon for damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This is just such a good, you know, barrel attachment for this gun. I absolutely love it, so I'd recommend that. We're going to skip the underbarrel section and go to the magazine, and we're going to throw on the 50 round magazine, not the 60. The reason we're running the 50 round magazine on this thing is to give it a little bit more just overall mobility and movement. When you have the 60 on here, it will negatively impact your movement speed and your ADS speed a little bit too much. in comparison to when you're using some of the other stuff like a Cold War SMG, for instance. And also even some of the Vanguard SMGs have some crazy movement with them, like the MP40. So if you're trying to compete, you have to kind of sacrifice stuff and maybe that you wouldn't beforehand, like switching from a 60 to a 50. That's just kind of one of those things. Now in the laser section, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw on the 5MW laser here for hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. This overall is going to make this gun a little bit more viable here at close range. Who doesn't love getting some more hip fire accuracy out of your gun? The MP7's got a great hip fire to begin with. This is going to just overall increase it. It says the laser is visible to enemies. Who really cares? They see you anyways. You're up close in their face. I mean, they see you, so it doesn't really matter all that much. It's not really much of a con to me. It's just they see me. I mean, I don't know. Everybody sees me in Warzone anyways. So for pretty much any of the laser attachments, I wouldn't really think too much about this. And then for our final attachment, go to the stock section. I'm going to throw in the no stock attachment, which is going to give us the maximum movement speed and ADS speed bonus. Absolutely love this thing. I use this specifically in a video here just more recently. If you guys haven't seen that one, you guys want to go see this in action, you guys can definitely click through onto the channel and see this gun being used. This is such a great build here with the MP7. Absolutely love it. You guys should definitely try this one out here. It's been hit a lot more recently. I don't know why, but it definitely has. All right, so for our next gun up here, we're going to take a look at the Ram 7. I do believe personally that the Ram 7 is criminally underrated. It doesn't get used all that much, and when it should. This is such a good gun. It just has, I guess, a tad bit of an interesting recoil pattern, which doesn't make it as good for people that are on console, or even if you're on controller on PC. It still doesn't make it all that good. It can make you a little bit more accurate when you're playing, of course, on PC. You know, you're a skilled, mouse and keyboard player, and you can be deathly accurate with this thing. It's a little bit nuts, but it's still great for everybody that's on console. I play on, controller on PC, so I'm kind of with you guys right there. Now, in the muzzle category, of course, mono suppressor, ain't going to spend any much time on this one. Your barrel section, we go through on the FSS Ranger, which is the largest barrel possible here. Of course, damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This is kind of the way to build out the Ram 7. You always want to do this. I've tried building it out with a Forged Tac Eclipse barrel. I've done this for a public match multiplayer. It's worked out all right, but I ultimately found that the Ranger barrel, even from multiplayer perspective, it still works out better. So I just recommend to run the Ranger at all points in time, no matter what you're doing. I mean, also, by the way, don't try to run this as an SMG. You're not going to do this. This is more of like an, sniper sport, shorter to medium range AR, not necessarily like a super long range AR, because the recoil pattern would just be a little bit too much. But always run the Ranger no matter what. Now in the underbarrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to throw in the Commando foregrip here. This is just going to be the way to go. You don't want to use anything else more. It's just going to slow you down a little bit too much. Trust me, I've tried out everything here because we've had so long to be able to try out these guns. I've tried to figure out like what's the best thing to do, and ultimately the Commando is just going to be the way to go on this gun. After that, in the magazine section, I guess it's a bit, kind of sad that we don't have anything else in here besides a 50-round magazine. Otherwise, I'd love to be able to run a 60. That'd be great. But we don't have anything else in here. So the 50-round magazine is just going to be the way to go. That's the only option in here. So you need more than 30 rounds in your gun. So we're throwing on this. And then for our last option, we're going to the optic section. And we're actually going to throw on the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. And the reason we're using this is just because this is more of a medium-ish range AR, shorter to medium range, like a sniper sport weapon. It's not necessarily as geared for getting into more longer range engagements like some of the other Modern Warfare ARs. But you could definitely still get away with using the VLK 3x optic, and you guys will be perfectly good with that. So I just recommend to run the VLK if you really want to, if you feel like you can control that recoil. It sometimes can be a little bit interesting, but ultimately the Corp Combat Hollow Sight, especially with that blue dot on there, a beautiful sight. You're going to be downing people super quick. I ultimately think this is a great setup. Hope you guys do enjoy this Ram 7 build here. I love the Ram 7. Don't use it nearly that much, but it definitely is for sure criminally underrated. Okay, so now we're going to jump into a build that I really don't give you guys that much, which is a build for a sniper, the Modern Warfare Kar 98K. You just kind of really have to do this. This has a Cold War CDL camo on here. That's why it's labeled Kar CDL. So that's why I have to do that. You can't, for whatever reason, use the Cold War CDL camos on Modern Warfare weapons unless you save it as a variant over in multiplayer Modern Warfare. Hey, listen, don't even get me started on that. It is what it is. But let's jump into the category here. First, muzzle. Obviously, we're going to throw on the mono suppressor. Best thing to run here, even on the sniper. So I just recommend you guys go ahead and run that. We're going to skip over the barrel section. We're going to go to the laser section. And we only have one option in here, at least. I don't know if it's glitching out somehow, some way. But we only have one option here, which is going to be the tac laser. And so, I mean, I just definitely recommend to run the tac laser in here. ADS speed, aiming stability, and aim locking steadiness. This is going to be a build that's going to be more built for Rebirth Island because we're trying to be like a very, very quick here. Be able to hit those, quick scopes and stuff like that. And to overall just be pretty mobile with our sniper. This is best paired probably like an OTS9 or even a Modern Warfare MP5. You guys want to go that route. After that, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory that we have to go into the optics section and throw on the sniper scope. I mean, it is a sniper after all, so we have to throw on a sniper scope. I don't really probably have to explain this one too much. This is a 4.4 times zoom. This works out perfectly, especially for Rebirth. And also, I mean, on Caldera, it's going to work out pretty nice as well. Though you could definitely, I guess, run something else if you ever so felt like it. But the sniper scope ultimately is going to be the way to go. After that, in the stock section, we're going to go throw on the FTAC Sport Comb here. This is going to increase our ADS speed. Like I said, this is going to be more of a mobility type of build. We're trying to be pretty agile, pretty mobile here with our sniper rifle. And I absolutely love this. I've hit a lot of really great shots with it. So the FTAC Sport Comb is fantastic. And then for our last thing, we're going to go to the perk section. We're going to throw on Sleight of Hand here because this isn't magazine reload. It reloads, you know, every shot one by one. It's got a 5-round, technically, magazine. And so, I mean, more or less, you have to reload everything, you know, one by one. And so that takes quite a bit of time when you have to do that. So in order to speed that process up, we run the Sleight of Hand, and this works out pretty nicely. Though, if you really want to, you can run something else like a barrel in place of Sleight of Hand. That's just kind of those other options. This is my full Kar 98 build here for you guys. Definitely give this a shot here on Rebirth or Caldera. Works out great. I don't snipe too much, but when I do, I use this build specifically. And for our last gun here within this top 5, let's jump into another beautiful AR, the Grau 5.56. I have a lot of people that still ask me for whatever reason how to unlock the Grau, and trust me, like, I don't know. I've had this thing unlocked since it came out for Modern Warfare public match multiplayer, like seasons and seasons and upon seasons years ago at this point. So first thing in here, muzzle, mod suppressor, ain't gotta talk about that. Next thing on here, Tempest 26.4, Archangel 26.4. I probably messed that up a little bit. Archangel barrel, this is gonna be the way to go. This has that beautiful iron sight. If you guys want to run this without an optic, it's kind of one of those options. I love running this without an optic. I've done that plenty of times. It works out great, specifically on Rebirth, though probably not as much so on Caldera because, you know, that's got a lot more longer engagement sight lines, but this thing has very little recoil, so you can still definitely engage people at those longer sight lines. So the Tempest right here is gonna be the way to go. Now in the underbarrel section, the Commando foregrip, this gun really has probably the least amount of recoil out of any AR in Modern Warfare. I mean, it's very, very minimal, to be honest with you guys. I mean, it's unbelievably simple to control. And if you guys can't control the recoil on this thing, then, I mean, I don't know, you got to reevaluate your skill or get better. I mean, it's pretty simple. So throwing the Commando foregrip on this. Now the magazine section, I'm going to throw on that beautiful 60-round magazine because I'm a 60-round magazine kind of guy. That's what I do. And this is just the way to go. I mean, you could get away with running the 50, a little more personal preference on this one. This attachment's not going to make or break the build. It's just whatever you feel like it's better to run. If you want more mobility, 50. If you want more rounds in your magazine, 60. Just kind of go with that. And then for our last attachment here, we're going to go throw on the beautiful VLK 3x optic. And this is going to be my full build here for the Grau 5.56. Absolutely love the Grau. Top tier AR. If you guys enjoyed this top 5, make sure you guys give it a like, subscribe if you're brand new, and just run on Twitch. Don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.